Alrighty, hello everybody, and welcome into another watch party. We are here for a very quick turnaround for our patrons or our Patreons. But it's week 5 watch party. We got a banger out here in the Pac-12. We got Boise State Coach Dune taking on Coach Leaf, a brand new patron over at Arizona State, taking over Rick's old team. It's going to be a fun one. As always, if you want to join Patreon to get bonus content and watch these live, check out patreon.com/the SFA. Also, if you want more content, check us out on Instagram at Simulated Football Association on Insta. And then obviously we are sponsored, or not sponsored, but affiliated with Home Field Apparel, the best collegiate apparel out there. Use code SFA for 15% off your first purchase. You can use our link as well, or you can use that code once per email. And they just dropped a banger Wisconsin-Milwaukee Panthers collection today. They have over 180 different collections, so check them out. And yeah, let's get into it. As always, we're going to go through the rosters, and then we're going to get into the game. So we're going to start with Boise State. We saw them in a watch party situation last season, so we'll see what they do this year. They are 2-2 at this point, as they are led by Zach Maynard, the redshirt senior SFA player. He was a former transfer from Houston. He really has not panned out. Very minimal progression, so we'll see if he can get it done today. Running the ball is Mike Anthony, but he's hurt, so it looks like we're going to see Lamont Green most likely. At wide receiver, it's Scott Edwards, Brian Vaughn, Terry Bauer, and Tony Gooseby. At tight end is the SFA player Sterling Charbonneau, another guy who just hasn't panned out. And on the offensive line, Justin Coley, Marcus Allen. Looks to be an okay offensive line. The transfer, Dustin Dixon, he got in the transfer portal a couple of years ago, has really been good for him. So a really strong interior, kind of weak on the tackles. And then left tackle, or left end here on the defensive side is Nathan Turner. On the other side, you got Dave Lee. And in the middle, you got Brian Turner, and you've got Will Fowler. At linebacker, Xavier Lewis, Nick Sisk, and then Chris King. Not the best linebacker core. This is a very bad team. You got Casey Lee, Brandon Davis, Justin Hayes. Now some decent speed here. We'll see if they can handle those ASU receivers. And then the free safeties, Ron Berry and Victor Stewart. Kicker is a freshman, Ryan Nance. Let's check out his abilities. 73 power, 63 accuracy. So he might be able to kick it a little bit, but definitely not accurately. So now let's go take a look at Arizona State. This is a team that always has some expectations, but they always seem to fall short. They're led by Ben Fountain, the former Georgia Tech quarterback, transferred here a couple years ago. So we'll see what he does today. The running back is Will Herron in his senior year. He overtook Ricky So in the backfield and forced him to transfer to BYU, who we saw last week on Watch Party. At wide receiver, SFA player Rafa Hooker. A game earlier this year, he had a kickoff return and a punt return in the same game. They also got Travis Dixon. You got Reggie Robinson, Jeremy Harris. So actually some very speedy receivers here, but they do typically run like a triple option-esque. I don't know if Leaf has changed his offense at all. We'll have to see. Anthony Carey at tight end. And then the offensive line is not great. That interior is bad. You got Stiegel, the SFA player there, and then the defensive end, Paris Andrews, Trent Jackson, Donnie Thurman, the SFA player in the middle, and then at linebacker, they normally don't have the SFA player there anymore. Here's an SFA player who went so far down in progression. He's down to a 72, Ion Peaks. And then corners, you got Anthony Alexander, Mark Davis, Derek Peters, some very speedy guys. So these guys should be able to handle this Boise State passing game with relative ease. And in the back, Brian Gorman and Johnny Mills on the other side. The kicker is Paul Quinn in his second year, and actually not as powerful as a leg as the other guy, but definitely a little bit more accurate. So neither team is all that strong in the kicking game. So that is going to do it. Don't pay attention to any sort of rankings or stuff that you see. None of it's official, as we are doing this the day after game day last week, just because of my schedule with it being the beginning of a month for work. I work all weekend, and we have a game day on Monday, so Thursdays are really my only day to do these. As always, VOD will be available to everybody at some point, but here we go. We're back in the Pac-12. I know Dune wanted to go all white. That's what he's going to go with. Is if Arizona State is here, I think he said he had a game, so I don't think he's here. So we're just going to go, I mean, it's ASU. We've got to go with something fun here. So let's see if we can, maybe we go all black here. We don't often see the all blacks from ASU. Yeah, I mean, all blacks versus the all whites. And I mean, this is kind of a big big overall disparity here. So Arizona State should handle them with ease, but we'll have to take a look as we are off with another watch party here, folks. And if you've missed the other streams, I do have a brand new microphone, so let me know in the comments or talk. You know, anybody's allowed to talk on watch parties. If my mic's echoey or something, I can try to fix it. As we are going to skip all of this intro stuff, I want to make sure we have our UI, especially for watch party, because Cryo does jump in here as well. So Cryo, are you here?
Yes, my friend. How are you?
I could be better, but we're cooking here. We got another SFA game, and it's what I love to see. So Arizona State is going to kick it off here. We're going to see Ben Fountain and company first, as Rafa Hooker gets it up to the 24. He is the star SFA player, former #1 wide receiver, 5-star recruit. And here we go. So I formation to start. So they might have gone away from the option first offense. I can't remember what kind of an offense Leaf submitted this year. But Ben Fountain, he's going to take off first. He does have speed. Remember, he ran that triple option over at Georgia Tech. He gets 4 here.
Yeah, that's something you're probably going to be seeing a lot from Ben Fountain. He loves to see that if that first read is there, and if that first read isn't there, he is off to the races.
Absolutely, and sometimes that's kind of an Achilles heel because you don't wait to see plays develop. But there's Will Herring, he very good running back. Definitely, obviously, you know, unseating an SFA player's starting role, you got to be pretty good. All right, 1st and 10 here. They moved the ball already. A deep drop under center and just throwing that one away. And Ben Fountain has always had problems. You know, he's buried on the depth chart over at Georgia Tech. Has problems with those progressions and actually being a quarterback instead of just running the ball. So we got a tight end in motion now. A little toss outside, and if Boise State is going to want to have any chance in this game, they've got to stop Will Herring as he gets 7 here. 2 carries already, 16 yards. That's not a recipe for success. So 3rd and 3. Can Boise State get off the field? Only 3 down linemen. Plenty of time. We're yamming it deep, and he underthrows it, but it's tipped off the bounce. Trying to find Rafa Hooker, and it's intercepted.
Yeah, and that goes back to the matchup I was going to talk about when we got the point of it. It was Rafa Hooker versus Casey Lee, the sophomore. That was going to be the biggest question mark going into this game if they can lock up Rafa Hooker, forcing them to really stick with the run game. And very opportune interception there. Boise State has a chance to, you know, get an advantage early.
So now we have Zach Maynard, the SFA player. He was the backup on that Houston team that went to the CFP, and they transferred out, and it's just been downhill from there as he goes down here as well. This is a feisty front 7 from Arizona State. They have lost some great talent there over the years, but Donnie Thurman's still in the middle. And honestly, you know, with the running back injury, you got to look at Sterling Charbonneau. He is that like Gronk archetype when he was coming out of high school, and he hasn't necessarily lived up to that, obviously, with progression and just, you know, Boise State sucking. But he has the physique, as you can see, big old number 86 there in the slot. So we'll see if they utilize him today, as we're in an early 3rd down situation. Just a delayed give, but they're going to convert.
Yeah, surprisingly, backup running backs for the Boise State team. Good few rushes to start off. The matchup I'm looking at is Anthony Alexander versus Brian Vaugh. I feel like if Brian Vaugh can get advantage of over Anthony in this matchup, I feel like that could really open up the games to where it's not only runs, but you can take a shot deep every once in a while.
Is Joe Gilmore. So I think that they might have gone to the fullback with their injury to the running back. So we'll see how that goes. I know he's out. I don't think that's a new injury this week. I think that was a couple weeks ago. As Maynard takes off, he does have a little bit of running skill, but a nice opening drive here thus far. This is a Boise State team that did win the national championship back in the sim matchup era. That was a season 5. They were our first undefeated national champion until Buffalo decided to do it a couple of years ago. So 4th and 2, they are going to punt it here. As I believe this is the first, if I'm not mistaken, this might be the first Pac-12 game for both of these teams. That might be wrong. But obviously, a Arizona State team that's lost a couple of tough ones. An overtime game is Rafa Hooker's on the ground there. That could be huge. The star receiver, if he is hurt. Man, we've seen just so many tip drills, so many injuries lately during these game days. As we get a throw there, that's his first completion, and a nice stiffy there. Anthony carried the tight end.
And it goes back to Ben Fountain, like that interception just reminds me of he's just not been a good starting quarterback. Like his progression has just not been able to help him at all in this scenario, and it's really had this Arizona State team struggling. We talked about this before in last season's watch party when Arizona State was on. They started out ranked and then they just fell off a cliff. So it's going to be a really tough season for Leaf to see like what he can do with this team going forward.
And Rafa Hooker is back in as he only had a knee bruise. So he's at the top of your screen here, and that's going to be a first down. They went to the other side, and that's Travis Dixon. So Boise State couldn't capitalize on the negative run that they were able to force there on second down. So now across the 50 here for Arizona State. They love going to this I formation, and no room there for Heron. He kind of hesitated, got brought down the backfield.
Yeah, very indecisive from Will Heron. I think they really liked Ricky So when he was on the team because he was that change of pace back. But now that it's only Will Heron, it's kind of the predictability of the run when they're able to stop it.
And here goes Fountain. He powers through a man. He gets about 8, and obviously that's his X factor, his strong suit, is using his legs, and they can be deadly. So 3rd and 3, Boise trying to get off the field, still not in field goal range, so definitely 4 down territory here for the Sun Devils. So we're audibling into shotgun. Don't count out a run, as he's going to take off, and he's going to get it. Where is the spy? You got to think. Blunder there by Coach Dune and the defensive coordinator.
There's just too many holes in this defense. It's just not good enough, even with a spy. I don't know if you really can contain the dual capabilities of someone like Ben Fountain with Will Heron as their running back. It's gonna be a long day for Boise State. They've got the interception earlier, so maybe I'm wrong, but we'll maybe see if Arizona State can keep pushing the ball down the field.
Yeah, I mean the talent difference between these teams is just too great. You gotta force a ton of self-inflicted errors. As there is a drop right there, so that's what I'm talking about. If you can force drops, interceptions, negative plays, then you're gonna have a chance. But there's no way that Boise State is gonna overpower them in the trenches. As Fountain now, it's only a 3-man rush. They get off the block. He's forced to evade. He decides to throw it short of the line to gain, so that's going to be a 4th down. And they're going to go for it here. So Boise State has their opportunity. They did what they needed to do. Hurry up the passer. 4th and inches. Herring off tackle, and he pushes through for the first down. And that's what we were talking about. You can't beat these teams. Or you really can't beat these guys one-on-one.
You really can't. It has to be a combined effort for Boise State to even have a chance. They really couldn't capitalize off the interception. and it just looks like Arizona State is just pushing it down their throats.
As he's yamming this one out of the back of the end zone as he was hit from behind. That goes to no man's land. Could have been maybe an intentional grounding, but 2nd and 10. I mean, Boise State got creative there with a blitz. We'll see if they continue it. They can keep being pretty good here in the run defense, and they should be okay. But you can't let Fountain get out in space as he stiffies a man inside the 10, down to the 3 to 20 yards for Fountain.
Very, very impressive run. I mean, he's been wanting to do this all game, and he's just found the hole for it. Like, very good stiff arm, and he was able to push down to the, I believe, the 2 or 3 yard line. So
yeah, and
very impressive.
That was the safety Victor Stewart, one of the best players on this defense. So
Yeah, that is saying a lot.
1st and goal. We got Fountain. He has some time. He's going to take off again, but he goes down to his offensive lineman. I believe that was Daryl Stiegel, the SFA player, who tripped him up. Obviously, he's trying to protect his quarterback there as the right guard, and when you're scrambling behind there, sometimes you're just going to get caught up. So 2nd and goal here now from the 6. And this first quarter is flying by. Arizona State has had pretty much all of the possession. As over the middle and touchdown, Rafa Hooker, the SFA player. He's known for a deep threat, but he can run a decent route from time to time. ASU goes up 7-0.
And I mean, that's just a great route in the middle. Like, no one was on him until the very end when they tried to knock the ball out. You see, they had a good defensive effort to try and at least jar that ball loose while he was in the end zone. But that's sort of the guy that we expected to be the go-to guy in this offense, especially for a game like this when that secondary is very suspicious.
All right, so we're kicking it off here. We got Boise State. Can they respond? Now, they were moving the ball a little bit. I liked the run game, but the pass game, obviously nothing was going well there on that last drive.
Yeah, definitely have to really take some shots deep. You know, the running game can only work for so long against this Arizona State front. You really have to take some shots deep and just hope that, you know, you can get a stop or two.
Oh, and look at that run. 10 yards there from Joel Gilmore. That was impressive.
That was very impressive. The fullback, let me tell you. Oh, my goodness.
And sometimes, man, these teams, when they don't have capable backups, they'll go to that fullback. They'll sacrifice a little bit of speed for that raw power. There's going to be a first down there from Joel Gilmore.
This might be the guy to watch for this game. I mean, with all the chances that he's gotten, he's been nothing short of spectacular. So
now, last year on Watch Party, when we watched Boise State and Wyoming, Boise State ran all over him. As there's Sterling Charbonneau getting his first catch of the day. And this is a guy, when he came out of high school, I was super excited for him. He was one of my favorite prospects of that class. And, you know, sometimes, you know, guys just don't pan out the way I wanted him to. And he was somebody I had very high hopes for, potentially being the greatest tight end of all time, you know, a Hall of Fame type of guy. But you know what? He just hasn't progressed really. I think he's actually regressed in total. So, but he definitely has the ability. As we get another handoff to Gilmore, and maybe that there's a little bit of hesitation there. Might have cost him the first down. So it's going to be a 3rd and 1 as the first quarter continues to tick away. Handoff, and they're going to get it.
Yeah, I mean, oh, they're going hurry up.
All right, they want to keep up the momentum here. You know, I don't hate it. They don't want to flip the field quite yet. They're going to throw it here with Maynard, maybe catching the defense off guard. He hits Gilmore, and that's going to go for 9. So that will finally end the quarter here. Is the end of 1. It's 7-0 ASU here in the home turf. And this is a great stadium. This is I don't know if you know about the stadium over in Tempe, but this stadium's actually built into the side of a mountain. So on the concourse, like the outer wall is literally just rock.
Yeah, that I have done research into this stadium. It is a beautiful stadium about where they put it as well.
As that is another powerful run from Gilmore. So ASU kind of struggling to handle the power of Gilmore. So 1st and 10, they are cooking here now, and they're going out empty, so going away from Gilmore now. Stretching the field, potentially. They bring a blitz, hits his man, a broken tackle. And that's Brian Vaughn for 5. We got 2nd and 5 upcoming. Maynard's actually a 4 for 4 to start the day. Now, you obviously want a bit more yardage than 19, but we'll take that as we're going to go play action now. Open man, and that's what a great running game can do for you. It opens up those deep routes. Everybody bid on Gilmore, and then he found him on the out route.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a beautiful, beautiful post route. The cornerbacks were just nowhere to be found. I mean, very disappointing, might I add. Like, this is supposed to be one of the strengths of the team for Arizona State, and nowhere to be found for these, let's be honest, below average Boise State receivers.
So we get a handoff to the outside for Gilmore. He turns the corner. Touchdown, Boise State. 13 yards for Gilmore.
I mean, just roll out the red carpet at that point. There was not a single person on him going into there. And I mean, Joel Gilmore, I mean, they just trust him because they really don't trust their running back backups. But man, great run. You know, I've been pleasantly surprised. The fullback doing really good against Arizona State.
So we may have a game here as, you know what, Arizona State, they weren't able to really score quickly. They really had to grind for that touchdown. So we'll see. Boise State, they did start out 2-0. So anything's possible. You know, Northwestern beat Arizona State in overtime, and they also lost to FAU. So this is a pretty good ASU team. Definitely not the same team that was ranked as high as number 4 last year. They beat Minnesota early on in the year, and then they kind of fell off a cliff. But obviously a new head coach, new era for the Sun Devils as they're under center here for most of the game, which is something we're not really used to as we get speared there in the middle.
Yeah, and I mean, the entire storyline here is just, you know, we have Coach Leaf, new Patreon member, but also it's a very interesting team to take over. I mean, Arizona State has some really decent pieces, but this is a really fun team to take like control of and see if put your own style on it after this year. So it's interesting to see what Leaf's gonna do.
Yeah, as they bring a blitz there. And you're right. You know, this is a team that's weirdly set up to potentially compete right now. You got seniors like Fountain and Herring, but then you also got some guys like Rafa Hooker. He still has a couple years of eligibility left. You got some key pieces on the defensive side as well as they get sacked this time. And when you have your 2 most impactful players graduating after your first year, you could really go any way. You know, quarterback, you can get that gunslinger, you can get that pocket guy, you can get another scrambler, and then obviously same thing at running back. But it also offers a ton of pressure in recruiting because, you know, everybody knows your first year is kind of, you know, you have immunity, nobody really expects much. But then that second year, if you don't get a decent quarterback in recruiting or you don't get that running back, then all of a sudden you're going to start disappointing a lot of people in year 2.
Yeah, as someone who had that experience last year, I mean, yeah, that first year is definitely a learning experience, and getting those players to sort of cushion the blow as the type of season you have is definitely huge. And then that second season, you start to learn everything. Everything you do is definitely an experience. I've definitely screwed the pooch on that first year, but really excited to see what Leaf does.
Oh, yeah. 2nd and 7, another toss to Gilmore. They're really leaning into this fullback, giving him the workhorse load, and they stop him that time. Lawrence Wright. So 3rd and 8 now. He's already has 10 carries here in the first quarter and a half. So 3rd and 8. Their own 25 here. Charbonneau in the slot. He is an X-Factor guy, regardless of ratings. Maynard, and he delivers wide open to Charbonneau, another first. I would love a Sterling Charbonneau breakout game.
Oh, it would be absolutely great. You know,
And
I feel like this Boise State team's in a really interesting situation. You know, you said they started out 2-0. They lost their last 2. They're just trying to find their footing and find their identity as a team. So
Absolutely, and we're giving all this hype to Gilmore, but Maynard starting out 7 for 7. This is a guy who has really gotten a lot of scrutiny, so he's
Yeah.
playing well here today. And that's a strike, but it's dropped. So the first incompletion, of course, right when I say it,
The
is no
announcer's
call.
jinx is still alive.
And we were talking about how Boise State has dropped their last two. They did start out beating Wyoming, which is actually a quality win at this point. As we get another first down for the Broncos. But then they beat Mississippi State, so a Power 5 victory against a very bad team. They kind of got trounced by Arizona, which is to be expected. But then they lost a very close one and a very tough one to Ball State. And that's one where Coach Dune actually used a couple of visits, so he had some deal breaking or some pitches deal broken with those failed visits. So, yeah, definitely a tale of 2 weeks.
Yeah, trust me, I know a lot about visits. Oh,
Yeah.
and
And so, Maynard isn't as mobile as Ben Fountain, so it's always tough to navigate, especially when you have all these offensive linemen rolling over each other. So he goes down and that's Donnie Thurman getting credit for the sack, the SFA player.
yeah, no, I was gonna say I know a lot about visits. You can just ask
Yeah.
Oklahoma. Anyways, here we go, second down.
So 2nd and 12. Trying to keep this drive alive. They do pick up the blitz, but no, Maynard, he didn't trust it, so he tried to evade, and he ran right into the guy. If he would have just stayed where he was, that was picked up by the lineman, and rather great pickup, but
I mean, he tried to truck him over, which, in all honesty, he did. But at what cost?
yeah,
Now it's a third and long situation where I don't know if they convert.
yeah, you're out empty after 2 sacks. 3rd and 19. Not a lot of plays in the playbook for this one as he rolls up and he's going to deliver a strike. He hits his man. First down. Scott Edwards, the top receiver. That was a broken play to say the least. He just did a deep button hook of sorts, and then when Maynard stepped up, he got creative. He faked inside and went back. Ooh, that's a veteran move there from Edwards.
Yeah, I mean, that's two announcer jinxes within 2 drives. Like, what are we doing here? Like,
Yeah.
first it was the incompletions from the quarterback, and now a great conversion. I mean, Boise State's in prime position to at least get a field goal.
And say what you want about talent difference, but at this level of football, if you give anybody a couple of steps, they're going to take it the distances. Here we go. Oh, he trucks a man, and they trip him up. Brian Vaughn takes the mid-screen for 27. This is an exciting Boise team, man. They are coming to play on the road. A beautiful block, trucks the safety, and almost takes it the distance.
I mean, whoever that safety is for Arizona State, click clack. This is your Kodak moment. What a truck by that Boise State wide receiver.
So handoff to Gilmore now, and he falls forward for 2. Feel like a lot of confidence is growing in this Boise team. They struggled on the first couple of drives, but that touchdown really gave them a bit of an oomph, as you got Sterling Charbonneau there alone in the slot, and they're going quick option. That's not going to help you. You got to pitch the ball, Maynard, as Paris Andrews brings him down.
I mean, obviously the story for Boise State is their stud up-and-coming quarterback, Ike Deason. He's getting to learn under this very experienced quarterback. It's going to be really interesting how he progresses and how he can lead this Boise State team.
And I can tell you, Coach Dune, he's putting all the eggs in that Ike Deason basket we're going for it here. So aggressive. They're not going to take the field goal. So Boise State outgaining ASU. Can they punch it in? They're going to run it here. Gilmore up the gut. Touchdown, Boise. A 4th down touchdown.
I mean, I'm a big fullback fan, so the fact that it's 2 straight touchdowns for Boise with the fullback, I'm loving it. Joel Gilmore, have yourself a day. And I mean, Boise State, they could get a very sneaky win here against a good Arizona State team.
So that's Gilmore's 2nd TD of the day. And that was a big one. So Arizona State now struggling a little bit here with Ben Fountain. and company. But Rafa Hooker, watch out for him. He is a TD waiting to happen.
And we mentioned it, and I think it's just the fact that I don't know if about Ben Fountain. Ever since he got the job at Arizona State, he's been good, but not to the level that you want him to. Like he hasn't been that player that really like a coach can rely on. He's been good and he's talented, but I don't know if he's the guy.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's a reason he was fourth string at Georgia Tech. Behind a guy like Marco Schroeder, who sucks in his own right? So
Okay.
he delivers a strike there to Rafa Hooker, though.
Week 11 is gonna be fun.
Come on, dude. You got Marco Schroeder costing Coach Mike 2 games in a row with overthrows on third or fourth downs, and he's still keeping him at QB. It's ridiculous. Put in Clayton Tune. # free Clayton Tune. All right,
Knowing Mike, he'll be a backup for 3 more years.
Yep. Or he'll give him some snaps at fullback. All right, 1st and 10 for Ben Fountain. And dumps this one off, and it's dropped. Oh, almost intercepted there off the tip. We've seen a lot of tip drills these last couple of weeks. We saw one earlier here today. So, looks like defenses have gotten a bit smarter this year. So, 2nd and 10, and this time they convert over the middle. I would say that Boise has been incredibly aggressive with these creative blitzes, and finally Ben Fountain delivers a strike and kind of punishes them here.
Yeah, really good, thing. And going back to what you were saying about the tip drills, I mean, we started seeing it in the playoffs last year. We had that insane on the ground, like the guy was sliding interception. It's been quite a crazy few seasons where defenses have really become more athletic in the ability to catch the balls in those impossible scenarios.
All right, 2nd and 4 here. Arizona State put together a nice drive before half. Remember, Boise does get the ball after half here. So we're at a minute. Fountain just dumps this one off, and that's going to be a catch for Reggie Robinson, his first of the day. So they're still down touchdown. They're hanging on to all 3 of those timeouts. So really the clock is a non-factor here. It's really just depends how much time do they want to give Boise State. So 1st and 10, they're going to hand it off to Heron, and he doesn't get much. Gotta say, all things considering, the Boise run defense has been decently stout. So 2nd and 7 here, and just inside the 10. And we're going to get a false start here. So those self-inflicted mistakes we were talking about back you up a little bit more.
And I mean, with Arizona State, they've been going like that 3-4 multiple. Sometimes 3 down linemen, 4 down linemen. Sometimes throwing in the linebackers, like you said, they're throwing in those creative blitzes. Almost intercepted there, but like it's just the defense blitz package that Hayden's been bringing to it's been really good. Arizona State's been really struggling here.
And they're floating that one out, and it's going to be a 1st down. All right. So that was a bit of a floater. Might have been a little weak, but it worked. So Arizona State, can they punch this one in to tie it up before halftime? 2 tight ends on the field, I formation. Rafa out wide. They're going to hand it off to Heron. Up the guy he stuffed. So that's where those timeouts will come in handy. So we're at the 1. Can Boise State do it again? Remember, this is a defense that did lose Glenn Childs a couple of years ago, and this time Will Herring brings it in. Touchdown ASU. We've got a tie game.
What you're seeing from Boise State is this bend don't break defense, and it took them so long just to drive all the way down the field. They needed those big conversions on those passes. So I've been really impressed with Boise State so far. Unfortunately, they let up the touchdown, but not to the discrepancy of how well they've been doing. That front seven's been elite for Boise State.
Hey man, it's a 16 overall difference in these teams, and I would take a tie ball game as the underdog any day of the week headed into halftime. All you can't win the game at halftime. You can only stay in it, but you definitely can lose the game by halftime, right? So, we got a nice stiffy there from Gilmore, and he gets about 6. They take their last time out, so maybe they're going to try to get into yam range, maybe fringe field goal range. We'll have to see here. 2nd and 4. Deep drop there from Maynard. He's floating that to the edge and just throws it away. So 14 seconds left. We'll see if Boise pushes the envelope. Remember, you don't want to make that critical mistake. You don't want to give Arizona State free points here at the end of the half. So, got to be safe with the ball. Maynard, and he's sacked. And now ASU is taking a timeout. They're going to want to at least give Rafa Hooker a chance to return this one, as he is the best return man in the country. So here comes the punt. 10 seconds left. We'll have to see if they get an offensive play here, but Rafa, he doesn't get much. But they are in yam range, a little over 55 yards away. So 59. So here comes the Hail Mary unit. See how far Ben Fountain can throw it. Only 4 rushing. Fountain, he is yamming that deep. That is a nuke. And it goes to nobody. It's dropped by the defender. As we hit halftime, we got 14-14 here, Cryo. And why don't you tell us about our friends over at home field?
I mean, I think Ben Fountain just is uncomfortable in his clothes, Like, I feel like, it might be too tight, so it's hard to throw. That's why you need something like home field. Some of the softest designs that I've been able to feel, soft material, really interesting and cool, unique designs that really aren't found anywhere else. So yeah, check out Home Field SFA for 50% off your first purchase. I'm actually wearing my Boston College shirt,
Ooh.
so that's a little bit of a shout. But
Nice.
yeah, so I wanted to ask you, TC.
Yes.
Since Leaf is the new guy here, I feel like he deserves it. Unfortunately, he can't be here right now. He's too focused on coaching in this game. But what is your opinion on ASU this season? Where do you see them finishing up? We're kind of seeing just a sort of mix and match team that we don't know really the true identity of.
Well, yeah. So this type of a team comes around a lot. It's where it's a team that's kind of in their best days are in the rearview mirror. You had a very active coach there for a couple of years, and Coach Rick. He's been gone now a few years, so a lot of his key pieces moved on or transferred, and then now you're seeing a couple of good pieces, right, like Rafa Hooker or Donnie Thurman are still here, but then you start seeing some holes as we get a drop in the end zone, but that's just going to be a touchback. But so this is a team that's obviously is very talented in certain areas and has some gaping holes in others. And so anytime I see a team like this, the goal is to make a bowl game. If they can make a bowl game, I don't think they're in one of the tougher divisions in the country, to be honest. So making a bowl game and obviously winning it to get your offseason strategy, that is really the goal. Especially when you are 1-2.
Yeah, not the greatest of starts for Arizona State.
So 2nd and 8 here. Gilmore gets another carry, and ASU starting to come up big here. Gilmore hasn't been able to do much, but he is averaging 5 a carry.
Yeah, those big play runs that he's been able to do, those are the ones that ASU just can't defend. The perfect blocking. You've seen that sometimes the blocking is just really the key factor here for Boise State.
And a massive conversion there. Boise did not want to go 3 and out. Remember, when you're trying to pull an upset, you got to avoid those momentum-changing plays at all costs. So, like 3 and outs, sacks, big negative plays. We got a nice screen pass going here, and that's going to get 12. Brian Vaughn, again, this guy must not be fast at all. He's gotten tripped up multiple times here. All right, so we're across the 50. They're actually going to hurry it up. It looks like they like what they're seeing here and motion them inside. 1st and 10, they're going to hand this off, and this is to a wide receiver, so getting creative in the backfield, Tony Gooseby. So 2nd and 8 now, and you got to think if you're Boise State, you want to mount a response here, kind of punch him in the mouth in the second half, as they're going to throw that out to the flat. He gets about 3. So 3rd and 5, probably 4 down 4 down territory yet again because you do not have a great kicker. You don't really care about field position as they are actually empty now. Only 3 men are coming over the middle. That's not going to get done. A drag route with a spy does not work. In 4th down, they are going for it. So Maynard, he's 15 of 17. Obviously, watch Charbonneau in the slot. Maynard running out of time. He floats that. It's intercepted. He was trying to find Charbonneau. He had no separation, and that is picked off by the linebacker.
I mean, that's just forcing it into double coverage. I mean, that's just a very, very bad pass from Boise State. Obviously, they went for it, but Charbonneau just does not. He really just didn't get any separation, like you said, on the edge there.
As the screen pass goes for negative, and yeah, it's a 4th down. Instead of just taking a sack, just throwing it up to your big man, seeing if you can bring it down isn't the worst idea in the world. But I did see the guy on the in route there over the middle. I think he was open, so I think that Maynard may have missed an open guy there. But yeah, just a kind of a poor play, honestly, to run there. As ASU does take over, now they are backed up, so we'll see, can Boise's defense deliver again? And it looks like they are. It's going to be 3rd and long here, so a big chance for the Broncos.
It's just really unfortunate that Boise State's defense has really been bailing out their offense basically the entire game. Obviously, Boise State has been really reliant on that fullback, but their quarterback's sort of hit and miss.
As
It's going to be really interesting.
we get a 1st down there, so that's a play where you just give Ben Fountain so much time. You let that wheel route develop, and that's kind of a ball buster. But yeah, like you said, the defense has been really clutch for Boise State today, keeping them in it, and this is where they want to be. Boise State didn't come in here thinking they'd beat these guys by 2 scores, as that's an overthrow, and that's tough to do. Overthrow Rafa Hooker by that much? Sheesh.
Yeah, Jesus, and that is not the type of throw you would like to see.
That is a playoff Lamar Jackson throw.
Oh, okay.
As we got Ben Fountain. Again, he's sacked! He was looking for the slip screen, and they got to him. Nathan Turner gets to him this time. 3rd and 18.
I mean, Nathan Turner's having himself a little bit of a game here. 4 tackles, a sack, and a tackle for loss. Something that he's been really one of the key factors for how this defense has been doing really good. That pressure on Ben Fountain, that's the one thing Ben Fountain hates, is pressure, because it immediately makes him turn into Bailey Zappi.
So 3rd and 18, you have to get a stop here, and he tips it away. Brian White might have had a pick 6 in his grasp, but he went for the deflection, and it worked out. Boise's getting the ball back. So another defensive game shaping up here. You love to see it. We're 14-14 as we're about halfway through the 3rd quarter. We get a fumble there. That's the 2nd time it's happened, but it might have worked out for him as he turns it into a big gain.
Yeah, unfortunately, as coach of UNLV, I've seen the same sort of mishaps. It's all communication on special teams, and everyone needs to be on the same page for stuff like that. And luckily, he was there to pick it up, but that's definitely some sloppy play that you hope that Hayden can sort of fix going forward.
So handoff, we'll see Gilmore. He does cut inside, and they give him the 1st. I don't know about that spot, but you know what? We'll take it if you're a Bronco fan. Everything kind of coming up Boise State here in the 3rd quarter. So they're going to try to keep establishing this run it's play action, and they float that to double coverage. See, that's where he forced it. The 4th one, the 4th down one, I understand, but that one, you had so much time.
I mean, is this Ike decent season? Is this what we're seeing? Is this the type of footage that Hayden needs?
It's 14-14 from a redshirt senior, but then he does that. He delivers an absolute dot down the field. That is a tough throw to make. Brian Vaughn, have yourself a day. 4 receptions.
Yeah, I don't. It's very hit and miss from this Boise State core. I mean, obviously he's a senior, redshirt. He's been around the league a lot, so getting Ike Decent that experience, getting that mentorship from someone who's been around the SFA, but you have to have better throws than that.
And you got to remember, this is a Boise State team who has been in the gutter of the SFA since season 7 when we went to the NCAA 14 engine. They were in the Pac-12 because, like I mentioned earlier, they did win that national championship, but that roster, the talent is just not up to pace with the Pac-12. But Coach Dune went here trying to bring them out of poverty. They are better than they have been. They had a couple 0-12 seasons, I believe. So, this team is in a better spot, but it is a long road to being able to compete. So this would be a really probably the win of Dune's career if he can pull this one off on the road.
As we see a Arizona State defender just get shoved 5 yards down the field by Joel
Yeah.
Gilmore.
And Gilmore, he's up over 100. And you know what? Preparing for this week, I don't think Arizona State was preparing for a fullback. So Dune potentially catching him off guard as Maynard now has a ton of time. A back of the end zone, and they're calling it incomplete to Charbonneau. Wait a second, we got a booth review.
I would have thrown the flag myself if they didn't throw a flag.
Did Charbonneau bring it in? Those big toes, and that's good on Sundays, baby.
Oh yeah, even with the foot down afterwards.
And it's reversed. Boise State takes the lead 21-14.
Finally, I mean, Charbonneau ran a beautiful route to the top left of the end zone. Like very, very good route. The defenders just completely lost him in the coverage. I mean, it goes back to the blocking. The blocking and defense from Boise State has been A1. I mean, that blocking is giving him literal hours of time to throw. So, and I expected nothing less.
And it was a nice throw as well. You have that tall target in the back of the end zone, so you can, kind of throw it pretty high. And he brought it out of the sky. So now Arizona State, you got to respond. We got about 12 minutes left here in game day. Plenty of time to run your offense as we get a nice stiffy there from Herring. Really have been disappointed with the way Herring is running. He's only 58 yards, averaging under 4 a carry.
Yeah, you would expect to see more from Heron at this point. I feel like being one of the top-rated guys on this team, you kind of expect them to commit to the run when this type of Boise State team, but they've gone to the pass. I mean, Boise State has proven that they can easily get to the quarterback with ease. So, I mean, Ben Fountain's been having to make plays, and that's kind of where he's shaky. Like, sometimes he can make a play, but sometimes it's just not in the cards.
So a nice conversion there on the flat route. Nobody was covering him, so they're up around the 50 here, hurrying it up. Maybe a little miscommunication there with the fullback, but they get about 8 out of it. So 21-14 here as the third quarter beginning to come to an end. Home team getting a little nervous now. They expected to come out, celebrate a massive W, and now they're kind of in the fight for their life. So 2nd and 2 now for Fountain. He's going to take off here. We haven't seen this much since the first half, and that's going to be a nice little 14-yard scamper. So inside the 35 here. Rafa Hooker, top of your screen. They're playing very, very far off of him. Crowding the box. Deep drop from Fountain. He's trying to escape again, and he somehow gets 3 out of that. He got corralled right around the line of scrimmage, pushed through. It's now 2nd and 7, and this is what you're talking about earlier. They like to throw these different looks out. Now they have 5 down linemen in this 3-4, and they're going to run the ball up the middle, and he gets about 5. So a 3rd and 2 incoming.
Yeah, it's one of those things I love to run myself personally, that 3-4 multiple can allow you to throw an extra linebacker down there, an extra 2 linebackers. Those middle linebackers need to be really key in order for that to be a really good defense to run,
And
It's definitely...
And Herring gets to the edge there. That's a first down as we're in the red zone now. So, yeah,
Hey.
so like you're saying, they have the 1 extra linebacker on this one. And that's a quick throw to the slot. Travis Dixon gets 3. And they're calling that a run.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I didn't want to cut you off, so that's my apologies. But like, it kind of, as a Patriots fan, I have to mention it. Kind of like how the Patriots run it. How Josh
Boo.
Uche. You have other linebackers that love to make plays off the edge, and you know, it's one of those things where like you get a lot of those defensive front seven involved. You're gonna boo, but I don't want to hear it coming from a fan of the Denver Broncos. But that's just me. Anyways.
First and goal here. End around. We don't see that too often, and it doesn't work. He gets hit hard. Leave it to Cryo to bring up the Patriots in a Pac-12 game.
Oh man, listen, man. I reckon that a certain Western Kentucky quarterback actually beat your team last time
Okay,
I checked.
relax. All right, as we head to the fourth quarter, 21-14 for Boise State. Trying to have the upset of a lifetime, similar to the Patriots over the Broncos, was an upset of a lifetime.
I agree. Wow, good point there by TC.
Second and goal. All right, Fountain under center. They're going to hand it off short side, or weak side, I mean, and Herring gets hit. These edge rushers, man. Dave Lee getting involved. Nice little block shed there. So third and goal.
You need a touchdown here. I mean, they've been outscored 21-7 ever since that touchdown. It's been really rough for this Arizona State team.
Yeah, so third and goal. Can they convert? A field goal really wouldn't help. To the end zone! Caught, and they call it in. Reggie Robinson does his own Charbonneau impression, tying up the game.
That's just an immaculate throw by Ben Fountain. I mean, take the bad with the good, but wow, toe drag back the end zone. Man, now we got a tie. This is going to come down to really who scores last.
Yeah, man, whoever has the ball last could very well win this game, but we got 8 minutes, 33 seconds. Both teams, all their timeouts, plenty of time. Nobody's going to be running that 6-minute offense, so we've got quite a bit more action coming to you in a critical Pac-12 game. This is a cross-division game as well, and Boise State actually leads the division currently, oddly enough, over in the north. So ASU, obviously, Stanford isn't as good this year, so if they can do or put together a nice performance, they could potentially push, a Utah or a Arizona maybe for this division title. But first, you got to stop Gilmore here. He is cooking them as he's up to 110 yards on the day. So 2nd and 1 now. You got Maynard under center. He's going to be a quick drop. Delivers a strike. That was very questionable, but Brian Vaughn has been a key target here today. He's up to 74 yards as they approach midfield. So we're under 8 minutes now. A little bunch formation top of your screen. And they're going to go for the end around this time, and it doesn't work. Scott Edwards for -2. You got to think, if the opposing offenses run a trick play, they probably faced it in practice, and it's not going to work all too well. Like running option on an option defense. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just not effective at that point.
So Edwards to the backfield. Now they're going to give him a jet sweep after the end around, and this time he breaks 2, and he gets about 10. So a big run there from Edwards. Keeping this drive somewhat alive, as it's going to be a key third down here. I would say this is fringe go for it range, but come on, just give it to Gilmore up the middle. Let's not play around. We know what's coming, and they're going to play around. But Maynard, he escapes. He has some room, and he slides. Nice run there from Maynard.
Yeah, they fully expected in the pass there, which gave Maynard the room to run. No QB spy, or the QB spy was offset to the left, and just really impressive. Good first down by Boise State.
So under center now, and this is a wide receiver at running back. They're going to hand it off to him, and that is Gooseblee again.
What a name, let me tell you.
Tony Gooseblee. So 2nd and 3. Boise State's been very impressive, and this got to kind of hurt the Arizona State sideline. Is they did a ton of work there to get this game tied, and now Boise State is kind of just running it down their throat.
What you're seeing from this is just like the 6-minute offense. You're kind of seeing them just take their time, let it, let the clock run down a little bit. Sort of. They want to score, obviously, so they're being aggressive on those third downs. But Joel Gilmore's been pleasant surprise today. If
The
that running back's still hurt next week, we may see Hayden run him at running back going
Oh
forward.
yeah, this guy is the player of the game for sure. I mean, they're 8 for 12 on third down, for crying out loud. Just hand it off to Gilmore, and this time he trips. He had a seam there, but he tripped over Trent Jackson. So 2nd and 15. Now, we've yet to see these field goal units become a factor, so that might be something that we have to keep an eye out here. This may not be field goal range for Boise State. Got a young freshman kicker. Got to grow those guys. They aren't typically all that great out the box. So Edwards only gets 2, so a 3rd and 13 now. So big chance for ASU to stop him here.
Yeah, no, as someone with one of the worst kickers in the country, I fully agree.
So 3rd and 13. Blitz, they bring it, and got aggressive, and that's a touchdown. Brian Vaughn, 22 yards. Arizona State got aggressive with the blitz. It did not work out, and Brian Vaughn took it to the house.
It's surprising because that blitz actually worked. They had 2 people in front of Brian Vaughn, and he just pushed through them. Very impressive. Brian Vaughn having himself a statement play in this game. My problem is I don't know if Arizona State can respond. Boise State is responding so quick to every Arizona State drive that takes like 8 minutes because they keep struggling on just trying to find an answer. So it's gonna be interesting.
Yeah, I mean, Boise State has proven that they are not to be taken lightly here, and doing this all on the road as well. So Arizona State Coach Leaf, in his young career, man, this is a moment of adversity. You're against a team that you were expected to destroy. So can you find a way to get the W? Ben Fountain, he delivers that. That is nowhere to be found.
As you see, that would be Flynn Saunders on game day if given the chance. But anyways, here we go, 2nd down.
So 2nd and 10 now, and kind of, the crowd is restless. You're under 5 minutes left. Your quarterback just threw it horribly, and oh my, Will Herring powers through 3 men for the first down.
Usually I have to pay for that. His first down.
So we're under 5 now, as I formation, and another and he runs over another guy. We got to get the bonk meme for Cryo over here in the booth.
Oh,
I gotta
absolutely.
get a
stick. But I mean, Will Heron, showing his strength, back-to-back plays where like he's used his toughness and his like inner core strength to really just push this Arizona State line forward. As he's doing it again. Will Heron showing that he's still a capable running back.
Oh yeah, he had a tough first 3 quarters, but this drive he is frankly taken over, kind of saving Ben Fountain's ass right now. As they're under 4 minutes now, it's going to be a screen pass to Heron. Can he turn upfield? He breaks one, he finds some blockers, and he gets about 9.
Yeah, when in doubt, Will Heron might be the move to keep going forward. You might get some play action off it, giving Ben Fountain some time to throw, but
and this time they go for the little what is that, bubble screen. Doesn't work, so 3rd inches. Remember, Boise, we're getting down to the nitty gritty. If Boise State can get a stop here, then we can talk about running this clock out. So 3rd inches.
Yeah, just give it to Marshawn.
And he
they're not.
And plenty of time. He escapes, and he's sacked. A massive sack there for Boise State. Dave Lee off the edge.
That is the one that, man, Ben Fountain, man, what a guy. Let me tell you.
That was not a great play call. 3rd inches. Will Herring's been running the drive for you, and now game on the line. 4th and 4. We got Fountain and Herring in the backfield. Can they keep it going? Fountain dumps that off, and he's not going to get there. It's a turnover on downs. He dropped the ball, and now Arizona State has to play timeouts.
Unbelievable. That's just terrible calling by Coach Leaf. You understand with this drive that your running back, 90 overall, has been literally pushing his way through this entire team. That's just unfortunate.
And now a couple of first downs from Joel Gilmore, and they can go back to Idaho and peel some potatoes in celebration of a key conference win on the road here. I don't know what you do over in Idaho, but I assume it's potato themed. So 2nd and 7. They're not using the timeouts yet, and they get them in the backfield. That was a massive penetration there from the defensive end, getting them down. So 3rd and 8. Arizona State has to have it. They saved a timeout now if they can just get one stop. And off, and he has a hole. He breaks a tackle, and he's going to go down. 4th down, Boise State. So they do bring out the punt team. State is going to get a chance here with about 2 minutes left. Can Rafa Hooker get him some nice field position? Can they get a block there? They do. Can he cut outside? He does. He gets around 1. He spins past the 30. So Rafa Hooker, only 2 catches today. He was targeted 4 times. See if he can get involved here.
I mean, TC, at this point, can Rafa Hooker play quarterback? I mean, what are we doing with this Ben Fountain guy? I mean, 2 touchdowns, but other than that, he's been invisible on this offense.
So minute 58 left. Fountain is going to take off here, and he gets about 9. They're not going to give him the first down. So clock does not stop. Keeps on ticking. They still have 1 timeout left. They bring a blitz here. It doesn't pan out. Dumping it off. That's a first down. So now can the Boise defense do it again? They got 1 stop, but the offense just couldn't finish the job. So they got to get 1 more stop here to avoid OT. Tight end in motion. That's Carey. Only a 3-man rush this time, and Fountain hangs onto the ball. Like always, he decides to finally take off and slide for about 4. Across the 50 now. Rafa Hooker, top of your screen. And he delivers a strike, and that's caught. There was a gaggle of Broncos over there, and it converts. So now we're inside 35. Here we go. Minute 20 left. Ben Fountain delivers that. A no-look pass is intercepted. And they're going the other way. Boise State down the sideline. Can they catch him? No! Boise State picks 6 to walk it off here in Tempe. Brandon Davis gives them the upset.
I mean, looking at this game, Ben Fountain's decision-making was not good. I mean, it just wasn't good all around, you know. It's really sad to see. It's strengthening my talk for Ben Fountain not being the guy. I mean, the moment that he senses pressure, he just panics. He's just not the person to really go for.
And that is the first defensive touchdown of the SFA Season 14 season here on stream. What a play there. As, that in Ben Fountain, I'm sure that's a play they just run in practice where it's just a quick no-look throw, assuming Rafa Hooker is going to get great separation off of the release. And that time, Brandon Davis, he just hung with him. He got his head around in time, and the ball was right in his breadbasket. And then you got a nice block, took it to the house. So this game is pretty much over, barring a miracle. They would have to get an onside kick, which kind of kills the dream, as that's about a 1 in 25 chance of converting that. As they get a first down here, though.
And I mean, maybe a possible yam just right now.
I mean, that's what you got to do. You got to get it. You got to get 2 touchdowns any way possible. You got one of the best deep threats in the country, Ben Fountain, though, and he's gonna get sacked. No, he gets it away, and. I will say, very athletic guy. He does make some nice plays from time to time, but you gotta avoid those boneheaded mistakes, right? That's always what it's about. So 2nd and 10 here. Clock is ticking away as Fountain delivers one to the outside there, and that's gonna be a first down. He does get out of bounds. Davis on the tackle. But how about Boise State coming to play today and winning by 2 scores on the road? This is a game where they were a projected, probably multiple score underdog. As they're yamming it deep, he does connect. There's Rafa Hooker. Touchdown, Arizona State. Right on cue.
Where was this at the beginning of the game? Now it's a
For the
little
last
interesting, but
59 and a half minutes.
yes, exactly. The last entire game, you know. But really good play, over the top. The defender wasn't prepared to cover Rafa Hooker. So yeah, hey, maybe we get on maybe that 1 in 25 chance, maybe the commentator curse strikes again. It's already struck like 3
Oh
times this
man.
game. So
34 seconds. I mean, last week on Watch Party with BYU and Oregon, we had Oregon erase a 2-score lead in under 3 minutes. So can it happen again? No, Boise State picks it up, barring a miracle. They got to force a fumble as Ben Phillips picks it up. So 33 seconds left. All they got to do is sit in the rock a couple of times. I don't think they'll be dumb enough to run real plays. And no, that's victory formation here for Boise State, as they are going to celebrate perhaps the best victory in the Coach Dune era.
really impressive win. I feel like Boise State deserve all their flowers that they're getting. Surprisingly good. I could see a lot of wins coming from this Boise State team. It's the fact that it's not talented, but you have the grit and grind determination that you have from a type of team like Boise State. But overall, fantastic win for Hayden. A rough start to Leaf in the Patreon era.
Yeah, as we hit triple zeros, Boise State does the unthinkable here as a 16 overall underdog. Their fullback is the main ball carrier. He has 2 tutties. He goes over 125, and they send the Sun Devils back home. And yeah, I mean, Arizona State drops to 1-3, and Boise State extends it up to 3-2. They potentially now could fight for a bowl game. And that, and that's like the Super Bowl if you're a Boise State fan here in the SFA compared to where they used to be. And that pick 6, man, what a play. What a way to walk it off. Just the MVP for sure is Gilmore, but this defense as a whole played so well today. You got to give them credit there. Yeah, they gave up the Rafa Hooker play, but you're going to at least once.
Yeah, very underrated defense. I feel like if they can keep this up throughout the rest of the season, screw a bowl game, they could win. A good amount, maybe 8 wins. That it's in the cards.
All
It's
right,
one of the
all
things
right,
where
all right. I don't know if they're. What I mean, maybe they'll prove me wrong. Maybe you might want to buy some Boise State stock. Obviously,
I don't know about that, but
obviously, any purchases of Boise State or Arizona State right now in the shop is not allowed. But because you got to wait for the amounts to update. But all right, let's see how this one played out. Obviously, ASU kind of dominated that first quarter, but then Boise State went up, and then they dominated the third and the fourth. And that obviously the play of the game is this pick 6. And let's take a look at the stats here. As we'll start out with Arizona State, and 3-2. Just it's kind of you take the good with the bad, but the bad is what cost them here today. Run the ball. Herron didn't really find his abilities till late in the fourth. Receiving, obviously, Rafa Hooker is the best guy on this team, but you would have liked him to have more than 3 catches. And on defense, not much to say. I feel like the defense probably played pretty well. Remember, they only gave up 28 points. Maybe more turnovers, more 3-and-outs. Definitely the run defense probably hoping to be a bit better. And yeah, that's going to do it for Arizona State. Now, Coach Dune, you got Zach Maynard, 4 total incompletions today. He did have a pick, but 83% throwing the ball. Obviously, Joel Gilmore, the fullback, coming in, 2 touchdowns, 125 yards, and Vaughn was really, really good in the past game. Charbonneau caught that beautiful tutty, and yeah, it was a group win here today. A lot of TFLs. They got 4 total sacks, obviously 2 interceptions, and a couple of deflections as well. No fumbles here on the day, and yeah, that's going to do it from here to Watch Party. Normally I go through players of the game, but I don't want to spoil any potential games this week for you guys by simming. So we're going to end it here. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll be back in Week 6 for another Watch Party. And game day will be this Monday, in fact. So we will see you then. Thanks for watching.